They're a very well established, very prominent company in their field. And John, as a long-term member of our board, wanted to do something special in the name of his wife. He'd made a substantial contribution to our capital campaign. And so as we thought about what would be a fitting tribute to their work in the community and their interest in youth, was to dedicate the Child Care Center in their names.
One of the things that you talk about a lot and you do well is transitional housing. What is transitional housing, Joe?
Well, it's a part of our homeless housing services, Mayor, and it is what the name says. After several months of providing a shelter and getting families stabilized and providing for the basic needs of food and shelter and clothing, we move people into our transitional houses, and they can stay for upwards of a year while they're involved in employability activities that will help them get and maintain a job so that they can become self-sufficient and eventually leave transitional housing and move to permanent housing. But it affords them that opportunity for several months to really stabilize and to really learn what it takes to run an apartment and run your family, run an apartment, and have to go to work, while at the same time not having to worry about paying rent.
Joe, does the Y put a cap on the number of months or year you can live there?
It's usually a year, but sometimes it'll extend to 18 months.
So you'll work with the family if they say, hey, listen, I need another month or so, or
yes, absolutely.
It's not like you got to go.
No.
You figure out a way that...
It's not a hard and fast rule that someone has to leave after a year. It depends on the progress they're making and what other difficulties they may be facing.
Kathy, when I was at the Child Care Center, I noticed there's a lot of staff. And that's, everybody looks to cut back on staff at all times. Yet you look like you increased the staff to deal with the young children. That's probably one of the ways it works.
Absolutely, Mayor. We follow state guidelines for ratios. So for our younger age, we have a 3-to-1 ratio for the staff, for the classroom to the teacher. And then for the older age group, which is a 3- and 4-year-old, we have a 1-to-10 ratio. In addition to that, we have a director and assistant director for the program who are on site, as well as reception staff. And one of the things we're particularly proud of is the professionalism of our staff, but also that all of our classrooms have bilingual staff at the reception area as well.
So that it can deal with any language problems that may exist.
Absolutely.
Is there admission requirements or income requirements?
The admission requirements are fairly simple. You have to meet the age requirements. Your child needs to be at least 18 months in order to be eligible. You also need to have your immunizations current for that particular age group, and you have to fill out medical forms. In addition to that, we have subsidy for children who and families who can afford to pay, and so therefore there's a whole set of criteria based on income and size of family that we adhere to in order to meet our granting sources around what's needed if you're subsidized.
So you'll take them before they're even potty trained?
Absolutely.
That's a big deal.
I know.
It is a big deal.
I remember when we were looking with our daughter, that was always a cutoff.
I know.
Yeah.
So if parents want to enroll their children, they come to the Y on Madison Avenue, or they go right to the Child Care Center?
They go to
they can go either place.
They can.
They'll come to the Child Care Center. They'll fill out some registration forms and then come over to the Y at some point. But mainly, most of it can be done through the Child Care Center there on 16 Jefferson Avenue. And
tell us the support you received in order to successfully open the Jacobson Center. That was not easy pulling that together.
No, that wasn't. But through the generosity of Mr. Kellogg, as well as some local businesses, somewhat ironically, Jacobson Appliances donated the microwaves. ConocoPhillips helped us with cots. We were able to fully equip the center, and as you noted, it's beautifully equipped.
Well, ConocoPhillips bought all these extra cots when they went on strike, and they were having their office staff stay there, so they probably had to do something with all these cots. I have to tease the people over there. I remember when they had a strike, and they went out and bought cots, and that's an interesting thing. I'm glad you told me that.
These are little cots.
Oh, they're little cots.
They're little cots built especially for preschool child. Right.
Okay, so they weren't the cots.
They weren't the kind that fold down, but we do have some of those in our Elizabeth Branch main building that we were able to use this last summer when we had the flash flood.
I don't know if you know this about the Kellogg family, but in North Elizabeth, all of the streets, there's Mary and Anna, and they're supposedly named after sisters of the Kellogg. In order to pacify all the sisters when he started to give away the land, he named streets after him.
Right.
I don't know if that's all true, but that's a legend.
Mr. Kellogg likes to tell that story. I think it was his grandfather or great-grandfather that did that.
The way to keep family peace was name the blocks after his sisters. So, if you could stay with us, I know you have some exciting plans to talk about on the renovation of the existing YMCA and show some floor plans. So we're going to take a few commercials, and then we'll be back. For Joe Bordeaux and Kathy Dunn, please stay with us, and we'll talk more not only about the YMCA and its great success, but its future renovations in dealing with the residents of our city. And Joe, why don't we start with you? You can start to talk to us about the plans for the renovation of the Y's main building.
Well, we're pretty excited about it. It's something we've been working on for 7 years now. I guess it's before my time. The building's 75 years old, and it currently houses our housing, health, and wellness, and has classrooms for our child care and teen center, although we relocated, as you know, the child care program to the Jacobson Center off-site. We're excited that the expansion of this of the main building through the renovation is going to increase the square footage for our ability to provide health and wellness programming, exercise space, and in particular teen center by about 3,000 to 4,000 square feet more in that area. It's going to allow us also to renovate our housing on the 4th and 5th floors and create a floor dedicated solely to classroom space for additional vocational training and job readiness training that will support our housing program, and also provide a classroom area to support our health and wellness program so that we can have nutritional classes and other classes related to the health and fitness program.
Joe, the plan to build a pool as part of this project, how did that come about? Because I got a story long before you were there too.
My understanding is that many residents were upset at the time that the decision was made to close the pool. I think it was probably a prudent decision and one that was necessary to provide the shelter program to start that up. But I think we've come full circle now and realized that through a lot of discussions with residents that they'd really like to see the pool back. And so we're fortunate that we've had a donor come forward who saw the plans for our renovation and said that they would like very much to be interested in adding a pool to the renovation project.
They getting the pool named after him?
Oh, I don't know. I think that's Kathy's. That's up to Kathy, not to me.
Why don't you show the plan?
Sure. This, what you're going to see here is is just one floor plan, the first floor of the several floors that I discussed, and it shows the pool, which is located in an area that right now is a small parking lot and former playground area for our child care center. It's not going to be a very large pool, but it'll be a warm water pool, one that can serve the purpose of teaching kids to swim, which is pretty important for inner city kids, but as well as providing a pool that's convenient for seniors.
How deep is the pool going to be, Joe?
It'll be about 4 foot all the way around. It'll be a warm water pool.
I see you have exercise area and free weights. What is spinning for 20 people?
Well, spinning for 20 people is a room dedicated solely for those spin bikes.
Oh.
It's a good cardio exercise.
Okay. And aerobics?
And the aerobics area is for a number of our different kinds of exercise classes.
I notice you have a family locker room. That's an interesting concept. Tell us about that, Joe.
Well, that's a locker room that will be that parents will be able to bring their young children in to change, in particular for swim classes or for swimming.
Thank you very much. It looks impressive. And Kathy, you have the outer look of the building, which is going to change drastically instead of the big steps that you currently have. Tell us about that design.
In order to make the building handicapped accessible, we're going to be lowering the porch, and the entrance to the new facility will be right off the street level. And then it'll be connected to an elevator so that as we move through the rehab of the building, not only are we going to enhance the program space, but we're also going to be making the building more livable and more usable by the entire community. So this is the new front entrance area. It'll be a mezzanine level between what's now our basement and the first floor, which will become our first and second floor in the new renovation. And then as Joe showed in the building plans, the access for the pool, which will be built in the lot next to the Y, adjacent to School 2 in Elizabeth, the pool entrance will be through the new first floor, basement level locker rooms. Now the building looks a little small here, but that's because part of the building is going to be below grade. The pool will be a 21-foot high building when it's finished. And the other sort of neat thing about it is that there's going to be a workout space that's located on the new second floor. So you'll be able to be on your treadmill or your bike and look out over the pool and see the kids swimming. And seeing family fun, which will make the exercise routine on the bike a little bit more interesting and enjoyable.